I think Immortal has a better team play than us because Song was actually their coaches, but Immortal has a problem because they're on the rocks. I think we can catch them.
The thing about Envy is they're kind of unpredictable.
Quadra kill for Nisqy!
I'm not sure how strong CLG is right now because they're using Omar God. Dardoch was a big strength they had before.
Oh my god! Up by the Ringo!
I don't think CLG would be that strong because we beat them pretty easily last time.
Quadra kill for the new Team Dignitas bot lane starter. A sub 30-minute victory.
It's a good thing we got Omar out of all people we get because he's actually really motivated and willing to improve, but we only have 4 weeks to really get Omar acclimated and become a team again. It's just about using the time we do have to kind of go to higher heights than we were before.
Welcome to our final week of the 2017 Summer Split. Plenty is still on the line coming into Week 9 as the top of the table fight for playoff seeding and the bottom battle to avoid the promotion tournament. And earlier in the day, we caught Pobelter as he was making his way into the studio with Immortals. He's looking confident as ever, making a real close relationship, personal relationship with the camera. And of course, today he faces off against Nisqy and LirA, an MVP candidate who has stepped up huge for Envy this split. Hello, everyone. I'm James Patterson, and joining me on the Analyst desk is someone who always remembers to text when he gets home safely, Joshua Jat Leisman. Thank you for being here. Thank you for keeping my mind at ease when you make it home safely. I appreciate that.
I would say reliability is probably my main selling point, so no problem.
Can you believe they were actually in the final week of the regular season, though?
It's fast. You forget that the regular season is only 9 weeks long.
Exactly.
Spring split, summer split, then we got a bunch of playoffs coming in, but feels like it just started.
Luckily, the end of the regular season doesn't mean the end of competitive League of Legends for the year. There's still plenty to take place beyond this week. Let's go ahead and kick things off by checking out the standings. Immortals and TSM come into the week tied for first place. Counterlogic Gaming sit behind them in third. Team Dignitas and Cloud9, they share fourth, followed by Team Envy in sixth. If we look at our schedule, we've got a preview of the postseason as playoff teams duke it out. The day starts with Team Envy versus Immortals, and then Darshan and Counterlogic Gaming matchup against Someday and Team Dignitas. So all in all, two really huge matchups today. And on top of being a postseason preview, the matches today will have direct consequences on playoff seeding.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the top of the standings there, first to fifth. 2 wins are only separating it, but you saw at the top, it's TSM and Immortals. Those are the guys that are trying to lock down the playoff bye because that means there's a whole week of elimination matches that they don't have to play.
So let's talk about how they get there. As you see their strength of schedules popping up on the bottom of the screen, what's required for these teams to lock in those buys?
Yeah, Immortals win a game. So
Just
win
one.
tonight or beat Echo Fox, and they're in.
Okay.
So they're pretty smooth sailing. You look at TSM, their schedule gets a little harder because they play CLG on Sunday, but they just have to beat Phoenix 1 because if that happens, even if they lose to CLG, they're probably going to have a higher enough win percentage from their game score to break that tie. So it's important that both these teams win to maintain that bye.
All right, so 1 win is all those 2 teams need. Let's look at our third place team in CLG. They have the highest range of variance in terms of where they can finish, I believe, from first all the way down to fifth, depending on how things go this weekend.
Exactly, and also variance in how they're going to perform. Even looking at game 1 of that Phoenix 1 series, where they looked great, absolutely dominated, and you were ready to praise them for that move of throwing Omar God in.
Right.
Then they lose the next 2 games to Ryu, Mike Young, and the rest of Phoenix 1. And that really hurts CLG as they're trying to find some consistency towards playoffs.
Right, and of course, if CLG want to prove that they deserve that bye, they're going to have to go through both Team Dignitas and TSM. So all eyes are going to be on Omar God to step up and fill those shoes here in the final week.
Yeah, Omar God against Shrimp is a really exciting matchup. CLG, even if they're not getting the playoff bye because they need a little bit of help with some Immortals or TSM losses, you want to go in as the third seed. You want to play Envy most likely in that first round of playoffs and get you a higher chance of going to the semifinals. Because remember, COD's not coming through with a lot of championship points. They lost the quarterfinal last split as well.
Right, and I think a lot of people have their eyes on that TSM-CLG matchup that we tease for later in the week. We have to remember that CLG first has to get through Team Dignitas, and Team Dignitas has been surging. They took down Immortals last week, our #1 seeded team at the moment, as well as have shown tremendous mastery over patches 7-14, and today transitioning to 7-15. I'll be curious to see how they stack up to that.
Yeah, they're kind of a dark horse contender almost right now, and if they keep winning, you could even consider that they have a chance of winning the split. But I have to see them sustain this success as more people copy what they're doing. Because Team Dignitas, I thought, was so fast to adapt to 7-13 and 7-14, and now I think people are going to kind of catch up. Now we have 7-15 with a lot of changes, but not the same meta-impacting changes.
All right, let's dive into 7-15 then. As you mentioned, not a ton of massive changes, but we do have a lot of them. Specific champions that you're looking at that might be able to make a fringe pick into the meta this week.
Yeah, spoiler alert, Azir and Twisted Fate.
Boom.
2 of the mid laners. There were over 20 champion nerfs or buffs, but all of them were fairly small. And the reason I want to point these 2 guys out is because these are meta mid laners of the past. And all these guys that are playing in the LCS mid lane right now are so experienced that they put a ton of games into Azir and a ton of games into Twisted Fate. And anytime they show up in patch notes, if you've played the champion before, you're going to give it another try. I think Azir fits in the meta right now as a tank shredder, and Twisted Fate fits in very well as a Taliyah replacement as Taliyah gets more bans. So I think both these guys will see play.
I mean, you mentioned that obviously these champions have been in the meta in past seasons, so most of the pros have a mastery of it, as well as they're just playmaking champions, right? The idea that I can affect the map and dictate the game makes pros want to reach for these champions in terms of pick ban phase.
Yep.
You talked about Azir and TF. I want to talk about Urgot.
Yeah.
Do you think, 1, he'll be played? 2, how should he be played? Where would he be played? All that kind of junk. Give us the lowdown.
Yeah, well, he's definitely available this week. It is the reworked Urgot, but I'm a little bit underwhelmed by Urgot, especially when I think of him fitting into the pro game. I see a lot of lane matchups that'll still favor the guy going up against Urgot. If you lane a Maokai up there, Urgot sure is going to push him in a little bit. He's not going to kill him, and then Maokai's going to be better in team fights.
Right.
Or you have the lane bullies that go up top lane like Gnar, and I think Urgot gets outranged in those situations. So I don't see a spot for him to play right now, unless someone brings it out as a surprise.
I was going to say.
Seems to happen every time we bring a new champion.
That's always the underlying thing, right? Is did somebody put in so much time onto this champion that it doesn't matter if he's not exactly perfect for the meta, the surprise pick will kind of outweigh and end up tilting the matchup in their favor. That's going to do it from us here over in the Analyst desk, so it's time to send it to the casters to get us into the games. Enjoy.
Thank you very much, Dash. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the caster desk. My name is David Freak Turley, and this guy casts, in the word of Russ Hanneman. It's Isaac Azale. Cummings Bentley, how you doing?
Glad to be here. Excited for week number 9.
I am excited as well. The pings are polished up, and the first series is ready to go. It's Team Envy taking on Immortals. And let's talk about last split briefly, because last split at this time, Immortals were outside of playoffs. Now they're in a spot to secure a playoff bye and get that first seed.
Yeah, they really have had a big turnaround, finishing in 7th last split, and they're going to be able to lock in that playoff bye with a win here tonight. The team has been very vocal that a lot of this is to do with the additions of Song, their coach, and Xmithie, who's essentially an in-game coach, people who have brought a lot of experience to the team and have really helped them to improve.
So definitely a solid team here in Immortals. And talking about improvements some more, though, let's talk about Team Envy, who have made huge leaps in their own right. They have guaranteed a playoff spot as well, considering they were 10th place last split. Also great.
Yeah, another team with a big jump up in the standings. Nisqy has also proven to be great for Envy, which is a big deal because he is a rookie coming in. It speaks well to the future of this team. LirA, another guy who has really continued to impress. He was already named as the best jungler in the league in Spring Split, and now he is receiving a lot of praise from teammates such as Apollo for the coaching that he's essentially doing on the team, how much he is able to teach them both in-game and out.
Yeah, doing very well for himself. Let's check out the starting lineups now on both of these sides, starting with Envy on the blue side. We have LirA in the top lane. Sorry, Seraph in the top lane. I can't read. LirA in the jungle, Nisqy in mid, Apollo and Hakuho sharing the bot lane with Coach Violet rounding it out.
LirA will probably be in the top lane at some point.
He will. He'll
so
gank.
We'll give it to you. On the red side, it's Immortals. In the top lane, Flame. In the jungle, Xmithie. Mid lane, Pobelter. Bot and support going to be Cody Sun and Olleh with Coach Song.
This is going to be a fun one to watch for. It's Envy. I know we came in seeing that their strength of schedule was incredibly difficult. They had the hardest schedule from week 8 onwards. But the thing is, they were almost guaranteed a playoff spot anyway, and so all they were really doing is sizing up all their competition. We know they're almost definitely the 6th seed. They're going to play against number 3 in all likelihood here, and they're just kind of sizing up opponent after opponent after opponent. They had a very close match against TSM, went to all 3 games. Now they've got Immortals here for themselves as well, and if they can keep showing competitive, since we know they're really not moving anywhere in the standings, it's okay, Envy, how good are you when this playoff run happens? And I think they have to win a quarterfinal match to then make, likely to have to win a quarterfinal match to make the regional qualifier and then maybe try again to go to Worlds.
Yeah, I'd also say the addition of Nisqy is relatively new, so this is a team that's still trying to improve as this 5-man roster, very similar to what we were talking about with CLG and Omar God coming in. These teams need to make as many improvements as they can before playoffs because there's not really a lot of time to shape up before you either put up or you're eliminated.
Absolutely the case here, so we'll see what happens in this one as we are in the first NALCS game of 7.15. There were nerfs to Cho'Gath and a lot of small tweaks otherwise back and forth. Caitlyn still removed off the table from Immortals. Interesting stat for Caitlyn, she's been like a 98% presence champion or 90% presence champion in pro play. but in 7-14, when she was unbanned, was only picked half the time. So it feels like some teams have already realized they don't want her at all, but a lot of teams still very afraid.
One thing that I also think is a really big difference on this patch is actually Zach. I think that the nerf to him were actually quite significant, and that is a champion that was extremely high in presence, went down something like 5 or 6% win rate in solo queue. So it may not be a champion that they feel they have to ban away, which we're not seeing in this first round of the draft, and that does open up for more flexibility in draft, and in this case, perhaps the targeting of Kalista.
Okay, so Envy still think it's the right choice. Keep in mind, Elise also took some small nerfs, but Immortals thought that was more important to remove than Zach was.
Also worth mentioning, Cho'Gath still available, Thresh still available. Thresh is actually the most banned champion against Immortals, and Olleh is extremely proficient on it. That is one that may be picked up here in the first round.
Speaking of high win rate changes, Thresh is probably, you're talking about Zach being pretty big, we're talking about Cho'Gath being big. I think Thresh is next up. There was a bug fix on his Flay. As a result of actually Darkstar Thresh, the game mode, not the skin, the game mode tweaks actually had some unintended changes to Thresh itself, who now had a stun attached at the end of Flay. That was reverted in 7-15, so Thresh actually lost like 3 or 4% win rate in solo queue. I saw at least a special tweet out like, Flay feels a lot different now. I can't hit confirm into my queue nearly as easily. And I wonder if any of these teams have realized, do they realize that Thresh is much weaker now? Do they think he's still very good? And of course he can be. But Thresh is another one who took pretty big hits in the patch.
Certainly fair. And another thing somewhat unique to Olleh is the fact that he really likes playing Morgana, which is considered one of the better matchups into Thresh. That is one of his preferred champions that he's shown not just in Summer Split, but in Spring Split as well. And giving over Thresh is perhaps less threatening to him because of his proclivity to play this champion.
Absolutely the case. We'll see what comes through on this one as the final few picks of the first phase must come through. Of course, we see Rek'Sai and Tristana, the grabs here on the red side for Immortals. Definitely pretty strong in the run right. Orianna picked up for Envy in the mid lane.
The other option here, I mean, you don't have to actually match roles. You can go for that mid laner if you want, but you don't have to pick a support because there's still a lot of supports that Olleh can play, and he does have a very diverse champion pool. Even if something like Morgana gets targeted, he plays all the meta melee support champions too. So Olleh with a lot of depth there, and they're going to decide to take Taliyah for Pobelter, which has been pretty high priority. And actually raising a fair bit, I would say, in the recent weeks in the world.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much both players' most played champion. Pobelter's #1, it's Nisqy's #2, 1 game behind his Syndra. What I do find interesting, though, is Nisqy had the chance to go for the Syndra or the Taliyah or the Cassiopeia, which are by far his 3 most played. But by seeing they have Zach, he's like, let's go for Teamfight Wombo instead. Goes to a champion he's only played once so far for Envy in the Orianna. Certainly, we all know the champion, but he hadn't been going for it before, so it feels like a comp-based decision here.
Certainly fair to say. Also, a very safe blind pick if you do want to actually blind pick that Orianna, whereas things like Cassio, you might get the Orianna picked into you, which could be a tough matchup, and Taliyah can sometimes have those tough matchup against assassins, and Pobelter is also a very flexible player. So these are always things you're going to have to keep in mind as red side gets the first round counter pick and the last counter pick of the draft.
Absolutely the case here. So the second ban phase coming through right now for Immortals. They're going to ban away the Sivir, which actually is a great ban. Not only is she strong in general, but also great in Tristana. Survives the landing phase pretty easily. And one final ban now for Team Envy to remove is Immortals still need a support for themselves, Envy need a bot laner, and then both teams need a top, as we see the Gnar and Shen banned away, and no Bard for Olleh.
And not going to be able to play that playmaking support, but really does not hurt him too much. There are so many picks in the bag for Olleh, and most likely you're expecting them to grab that here, as Flame is someone who does like to utilize the counter picks. So going with Alistar as one of those melee supports, it is someone that can kind of not only absorb the initiation from Thresh, but also counter engage. You also, I do believe, can actually headbutt Zach and interrupt his jump to knock that back. So there are some ways to actually stop the engage and then survive yourself with your own ultimate.
The case. We'll see how well he does with this one here, and it's time for Envy to lock in their entire composition. They need a top laner and a bot lane marksman. Apollo's going to go back to his tried and true Xayah. Put a lot of games in that. His most played, now his 12th of the split. So Apollo really liking this champion. And we'll see how well Envy can do with this locked in. And now they need themselves the top laner, and it's going to be a blind pick, of course. IMT have not shown what they want to put onto Flame. Seraph and Flame both very happy to play typical fighters.
And I mean, Cho'Gath is still up. It's actually not going to be the pick, though. It will be Renekton, and Renekton does have very good matchups across the board. There's not a lot that's really shown in pro play that is considered kind of a counter matchup to Renekton. Generally speaking, though, his scaling does not match up as well with some of the other champions that are picked in top lane, so that is kind of one of the things you're going to give away there. But J4, I think, is in a pretty similar boat.
Yep, and it's pretty much absolute comfort for these players. They actually picked each other's most played, interestingly enough. Renekton is Flame's most played, and Jarvan is Seraph. But either way, of course, pretty standard for both of these guys, and the comps are ready and doing, again, fairly similar things. You know, decent wave clear, decent team fighting for the mid laners, pretty high damage crit scaling marksman, though Cody Sun certainly is much safer as a Tristana. Engaged supports and fighters in the top lane tank junglers. We'll see which one can kind of play this better.
One thing I will say, I really do favor Zach as a jungler later in the game. I think that his scaling is much more impressive than that of Rek'Sai. So Immortals is going to kind of have to know that and be able to get something done early with this Rek'Sai. You want to play more aggressively, and I do think that they have pretty strong gank assist to be able to set up some of these plays. But if you're not able to do that, and LirA is able to stay safe and just power farm, then he is going to have a big advantage, and the combinations, you know, with the Orianna are going to be extremely powerful.
Absolutely agree. The team fighting very scary here from Team Envy to see if they can stand up against North America's best right now. Comps on your screen. And as we were talking about, Zach took some nerfs in 7-15, but they're pretty much all targeted at his early game. His health cost, the safety was clear, and how fast he can clear that stuff out. So, as you mentioned, if LirA gets through that jungle phase with no issues, he's like the same champion he was before, and a champion that almost no one ever let their opponents get. And we are ready to go here with the first game of the last week of the 2017 North American LCS. Game 1, Team Envy versus Immortals. Who's going to take it on? Immortals have a chance to secure a playoff bye with a match win. For Team Envy, it's all about seeing how good they are to knock down these top teams.
Certainly going to tell us a lot, I think, in this last week about potential playoff matchups, the form of the teams going into these matchups as well. I'm going to be interested to see where LirA starts and if Envy is going to try to do one of these super leashes for him on the bot side to really enable him to have a faster clear, to really get going and kind of have that advantage for himself.
Push run a little bit right now. It's going to be fine, looks like, and just trading blows.
Also, you'll notice Hakuho starting with the Ancient Coin. That, I think, is the correct choice.
Yeah.
I mean, we still do see a fair number of players on Thresh going for the Relic Shield, which, in my opinion, is just kind of inferior now unless you are a pure melee champion. Even in some of those cases, I do think it is weaker. The amount of gold you actually get from this item is absurd. If you get an early upgrade, you can very easily end a game with 2,000 or 3,000 gold income from it.
It's something I've been looking at. Shout out to lawanalytics.com for doing a lot of stats crunching. But basically, as far as solo queue is concerned, Thresh is about 1% higher win rate with coin. Alistar's only 0.5% win rate higher with coin. So if you really need the health, like, health has value, very obviously, and providing regen to your teammate obviously has value as well, what Relic Shield does, and sometimes that does compensate. Again, I agree with you, coin's very, very good even on these tanks.
The other thing I would say about Relic Shield that sometimes can be overlooked, but is often more important in pro play, is how you utilize the charges to manipulate the wave push. So if you really want to shove very hard for a level 2, which they're obviously going to be able to do anyway because Envy is very late to lane, you can utilize those Relic Shield charges to actually push and try to push for a level advantage, or to try to save them for really intelligent times when you're looking to reset the wave and try to shove it in. So sometimes pro players will be more intelligent about their Relic Shield usage. And we can see that Olleh has not actually utilized the charge just yet, even though he had the ability to do so. So he's going to try to save those and perhaps go for a faster level 2.
Yeah, the first wave kind of goes to equilibrium regardless. Now a bit of a trade on a Hakuho, a couple hundred damage there, but Cody Sun taking shots as well is generally in the favor of Envy, as Cody Sun has got to now regen with that Warlords. Seraph getting pushed around, Flame getting the early push for himself and not yet getting ganked, and you can see that Xmithie's going to get him. Yeah, that Scuttle Crab right there to help make sure that he is safe. Certainly Zach can jump the wall and satchel up there for him, but it does provide a little bit of safety to his top laner, as Xmithie is going to probably put a deep ward down, get rid of the satchel, and kind of ensure that his top laner is safe.
And honestly, he could just go straight up for the red buff. With his lanes pushing, there's not a whole lot that LirA can really do to contest this, so I think this is a smart play from Xmithie to try to get aggressive, but LirA responding very well, realizing where Xmithie was actually pathing because they had a good early river ward that has now expired. They are able to spot Xmithie there, and he's just going to trade the other side of the jungle for this.
And Xmithie actually not going to stay to kill off the big drop. In fact, the rest of Immortals going to try to stop this blue buff take, but it's in smite range and one more hit. There it is. LirA gets it. Bit of a 3v3 depending on who shows up here. Headbutt Pobelter comes into LirA. Now a trade between Pobelter and Nisqy. Meanwhile, Flay on the backside, and LirA's getting pretty low on this one. Olleh as well, but of course LirA has a passive. Here's a takes on Nisqy. Flash not going to find the knockup though. Xmithie wants that kill. Meanwhile, Olleh getting shut down, and the kill comes in. And meanwhile, at the same time, Nisqy able to jump over the wall, and I said meanwhile about 17 times. I'll try to cut that one out, but the fight is still going on. There's a TP into the bot lane, and here comes the flame back and forth. They're going to lose his passive. Do they have the damage TP order used by Seraph, so he cannot save the blob? Let's chase on a Hakuho. Couple more shots to do it. The flag and drag the back up into 2. That was absolutely beautiful. Flame donates the kills over. Now the fight continues on to Cody Sun, who jumps away, and it's a 3-for-1 to Immortals. Seismic shove finds Apollo, and he's going to come crashing down to earth. 4-1 Immortals.
The 5v5 at 4 minutes in the bot lane there. Immortals comes out way ahead despite giving up the first blood, and Apollo and Seraph should have just bailed out. Apollo was actually sitting in the tri-brush trying to decide if he should try to recall or if he should fight. He sat around so long, and Seraph completing that teleport means they invest even more into it, lose 4 kills, and now it's going to be very, very difficult, I think, for LirA to really maintain control in his jungle.
Yeah, LirA at least gets to smite away the big chicken there. He had smited that one out, so I didn't know he was coming, and at least it's something back for him, but you're right, it's now a lot of wounds to lick.
It certainly is, and here's the collapse coming in from Immortals. They feel like they can take this fight, though, because they knew Xmithie was on the top side. So essentially, Nisqy is trying to isolate a 1v1 against Pobelter. He utilizes the Ghost and the Flash to get out. Well, on the other side, Apollo is able to take up first blood, but now they are getting collapsed on. Xmithie is full health. Pobelter is full health. Nisqy had to go back to base. The TP comes in much faster here from Flame, and you know, if you track Apollo, he's not really sure if he should get involved, if he should try to run.
Yeah, blast coned out.
At this point, he should have just probably ran straight up, and you could run out and around. Yeah. Seraph also entering the fight very late on his teleport compared to Flame, and means they're both going to have to go into retreat, eventually end up getting that other kill.
Yeah, really interesting stuff right there, but it means 1,000 gold lead for Immortals, but Envy want back in. LirA going to be lanterned towards, and Olleh, of course, could always headbutt him out, so no ganks to be had. Nice, they both juke the hook. Hakuho gets 3 points for himself, and doesn't mean much in League.
Good sidestep, though, from Olleh, staying safe in the bot lane. LirA trying to make something work. It is very scary for him to actually go around and farm his jungle without vision on Xmithie, because Xmithie can win those duels. And we know that Xmithie is not actually based and isn't at a super strong point, but LirA does not have that information. He does know now, though, as they spot each other walk past.
And it's certainly a veritable playground for both these junglers. There's very few flashes available on the map on kind of any one of these lanes is impaired in some way. Hook not quite going to land a Cody Sun. This time he didn't juke back. It's always a difficult guessing game. As they're going to go back, and I think we will at some point see Xmithie back for items, but right now he's happy to keep going with the 1-0-2 scoreline.
Yeah, and it's not really a big deal for Rek'Sai, because Rek'Sai can pretty much stay out on the map forever farming, especially if you are taking any time to do things like scuttles, where you're able to actually regen up a fair bit. Yeah, you're not really threatened by that. And looking actually for a 2-minute bait on top side, trying to perhaps spot out on LirA, and now the roam going up
Flame. Passive shove not going to land. Nice slice and dice. Seraph tags both halves of it, but yeah, 6v5 top lane, so Flame certainly could have pushed that one a bit farther forward. Xmithie going to zone him out, and with TP down, Seraph is going to lose at least an entire wave for this one. Meanwhile, engage the bot side of the map. They're going to look for Apollo here. The attacks are there. The stun is in. 2 more shots will do him, and Olleh getting the kill with Ignite, or maybe the trample. But either way, kill credit comes in, and Immortals winning everywhere.
Yeah, great all in there from Immortals, knowing that Apollo has no flash available, and Hakuho was not in a position to actually lantern him out. He was too far forward. As soon as they both step up there, there's no escape for Apollo, so great engage and commitment from the Immortals bot lane to get that kill.
Now this bot lane going to take some more damage. Cody Sun doesn't have enough gold to go for an important recall, so he's going to stay for some turret damage.
And this is simply it. As they move up, Hakuho cannot actually save him. He needed to be further back, you know, for actually hitting that lantern, or you have to flay the headbutt pulverize. It's one or the other. He cannot do either here, and the fact that the summoners are down on Apollo means it's an easy kill. And things looking good for that Immortals bot lane.
You can still compliment Olleh for seeing, ooh, Thresh is far. I can get this headbutt pulverize to land. We're good here.
Certainly a great engage.
Yeah, every mistake requires, ooh, that's a good one, though. They're going to go. Oh, he took the ledge too early. That is so unlucky. Apollo, sadly, gets it slightly wrong, and Hakuho cannot quite deliver the teammate. You can't blame Hakuho for that one. He played it perfectly.
Yeah, it was a good try, but not quite able to find that timing to go for the engage over onto Cody Sun. So he will be able to get back.
All right, he's fine. And ulti by Seraph, just going to shove the wave in, and Flame going to back off. All right, we're good.
Yeah, Flame can easily just walk away, collect that wave, and it does actually make Seraph a little bit vulnerable, utilizing the ultimate to push in the wave and trying to go kind of aggressive like that, because Xmithie can very easily come back topside, and Renekton is not too hard to dive if he doesn't have the ult up. It's so easy to actually set that up with J4, who has very strong gank assistance.
And Rek'Sai, you can drop aggro on purpose by just hitting R at some point. It's kind of beautifully timed for this one. Now we've got to fight in the top lane again, but Seraph getting a good trade. Flame gets almost nothing out of it.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you expect. If the Renekton does the trades perfectly, it's very hard for J4 to kind of retaliate. Yeah. You are just looking to more withstand those early levels and then either wait for your jungler or try to have a bigger impact in the team fights, because Jarvan's ultimate in that team fight, I think, is more explosive and more impactful than that of the Renekton.
I agree. First recalls came in for the supports. Moby's on both of them, so both Olleh and Hakuho really want to roam across the map, and we'll see if they can get some map impacting plays as a result. Cinderhulk entirely done for Xmithie with his green smite as well. We are not quite there because obviously had a much weaker early game. Immortals sitting on this 2,000 gold lead for now, and we'll see what comes in next. Expect the marksman to recall kind of soon, at least Cody Sun.
Yeah, and I mean, for Immortals, you would like to see them try to push the pace a little bit. They have these item completions faster, they have more gold in their pockets, but they don't want to just sit back and allow Envy to farm. As time passes, the gold lead is going to mean less there, so they're looking for a 4-man play on bot side, and LirA could be in trouble here.
The flash knockup guarantees everything else going to land, and he's down to the blob, but Seraph could TP, but he might not even try to. He is going to keep him alive for now. Meanwhile, on the bot side by that turret, Flame has shown up. Here comes the burst damage. LirA's going to flash, and he stays alive. Good TP by Seraph. He's now playing the fight as well.
The wall.
I'm not going to find us yet. Flash away by Seraph, and nothing yet for Nisqy. Now the hook comes on in. They're looking to find the trade. Seraph low on health. They're going to find that one almost. They can't kill him just yet. Xmithie gets the kill on Seraph just finally at the end. Let's bounce. Brings one back in. LirA still very low, but staying alive. Xmithie cannot quite get the kill. Shotgun buys more time, and LirA gets out safely. It's a 1-for-1 so far. Pobelter has died. The chase in towards Nisqy. One more shot will do it. Nice ulti by Cody Sun. Gets him with the explosive. Or sorry, the buster shot at the very end of it all. And now Apollo under turret. There was a wave to buy some time, but is close to going to die. And now Apollo in a bad spot. Headbutt's going to land. He's got the shield, but do they have the chase in? One more shot. He might die to the explosive charge. It's close. And the shield comes in time, and Hakuho gets the cooldown. He's going to stay alive. And it's going to be that, I believe, 1-for-1 overall or something close to that. Bot lane's still under fire. Those could be first turret for Immortals.
Ridiculously close play, but the fact that Immortals have more health at the end of it means they can not only get this first turret, but even donate over first turret gold solo to Cody Sun if they decide to do it. We'll see if they make that call. They are just instead going to split it, which may mean they want to try to go for the dragon also here. They're just instead going to base.
All right. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to get multiple objectives off of one reset, and I think they want to get back to top lane above the waves.
So. A little bit surprised, though, that you won't just give that solo gold over to Cody Sun unless there's a specific buy that your supportive jungler need. I do think it is more impactful to give all that gold to your Tristana. Here is the play set up once again, though. Immortals looking for the 4-man play on bot side. They find LirA. They are able to pop his passive extremely quick, but as you had called out, the teleport is used to delay that. Meanwhile, the dive is going on the bot side. Immortals does have to kind of back out, and this is where the fight becomes very chaotic. If you look at Cody Sun actually gets pushed quite out of the fight, and he's not able to join for quite a long time. So despite the fact that enemy was behind, they have more members in the fight and are able to actually go relatively even until Cody Sun can get in.
Speaking of getting in there, it's now onto the top plate. It's Seraph in a very alone position. He's got Slice and Dice, gets stunned up, and the rock jump reset because of the explosive charge. But a giant stun of the Seraph buys a lot of time because he wants in, lands the Q, ultis, and he's gone. There's the jump coming through, and Rek'Sai gets the kill. Nice showing up for Xmithie.
Now that turret is going to be under a lot of pressure. They're going to be able to push up. There's no one up here yet. You can see Apollo is basing now to try to get up and respond, but his base is actually stopped by Flame there with what I believe is a flag.
Yeah.
And they're going to lose another turret. So 2-0 in turrets for Immortals. They are massively this early on.
This is really, really good stuff out of Immortals. It all started with that bot lane fight that went 4-1 on the river, but since then they've just kind of continued to grow that lead. They're doing nicely for themselves. Nice dodge by Xmithie. Scuttle to go add to that one, and yeah, Rift Herald's up. That's a pretty easy take if they want it.
Things boding very well for Immortals. Likely going to see Xmithie just get a really fast Knight's Vow there for Cody Sun. I think that would be a really strong option. Envy looking to try to perhaps contest this. They know they are very far behind and need to get some sort of big play. If you can wipe Immortals and take away that Rift Herald, maybe that's your way back in, but not feeling confident to go for it.
See what happens. Yeah, LirA's waiting. He was on a control ward, but said, nah, never mind. It's going to be an easy take. There's a smite. Xmithie gets that one, no problem. And depending on how much damage in the mid turret, it's only taking about 12% health, so it needs more chips in the paint before summoning Herald's going to knock that thing down. But we might see it in the near future. 5,000 gold is an insane lead for Immortals, only 13 minutes in. I mean, this is actually ridiculous. And it's the form Immortals wants to be in, getting closer and closer to the postseason. Again, they win this match, they guarantee at least top 2 in the playoff bye as a result.
Which is extremely impressive. I mean, this is a team that, yes, they have been good all year long, but people have been kind of doubting them a fair bit for most of the year. Most analysts and myself included, I think we're thinking they wouldn't end at the top. That some team like TSM would be able to eclipse them, but here's the play from Immortals.
Look at the attempt now. Something's going to land. There's really no way out. Hakuho just deleted where he stood. There really wasn't much he could have done. The CC was already there. That's now 9-2 in the scoreline. Immortals might still look for the mid lane.
Yeah, with that pick, they could try to dive and then go for Rift Herald on 2. We'll see if they get it.
There's the flash in. They want Orianna. The shot never gets a chance to cast it. Nisqy goes down. Let's bounce, brings one back into the turret. But there's still pretty tank, and the dunk is there, and LirA going to be able to flash away to safety. Olleh's still alive. Mid turret's going to go down.
Such a good play, though. They can actually knock down this first turret and then perhaps summon Rift Herald for a second.
Ooh, they're going to get the trade into Olleh. Nicely done there. Seraph showing up. LirA the same, and Olleh took the wrong way out back through mid lane. And went through the Raptors instead and got taken out for that one. So the trade and kills, but yes, mid outer will fall.
Actually, just going to hold on to the Rift Herald for now. Perhaps because that kill got traded back, not electing to actually go for it. And they are still having that in the bag. If they can convert that into yet another turret, all the outers are now down. It certainly is a very, very good situation for Immortals, and they're absurdly ahead.
They really are. This is insane. I'm sure we'll get a stat at 15 or 20 minutes based on what their average and the normal is. This is obviously well above that. Looks going to whiff. And Flame's going to recall an award, so Hawk's going to do it again. Oh no, the cooldown's too long. He actually can't. He can flay, but he's not gonna. All right, Flame. Try number 4. 4th time's the charm.
All right, so here's the play again. This is after Thresh has already gone down. Xmithie straight in, flash, knock up, and then Olleh goes in, able to combo that again, taking out the Orianna before he can actually retaliate with the shockwave. Was very, very big, but Olleh does get split off from the team. It's a nice roam up there from Seraph to make the collapse and at least prevent Immortals for going from that second.
I don't think Olleh had to walk that way, though. There was no way he had mid lane outer turret aggro, so he just kind of chose an unsafe path, which is one mistake in a game where they're otherwise winning. Just, wow, Olleh did 1,000 damage. Props to Ignite, I suppose, for doing a lot of that one there, but...
The trample damage and the stun auto is actually pretty impactful. You can front load a decent amount of burst on Alistar. Yes, it is not sustained DPS or anything by any means, but in the early levels, you actually do a respectable amount of damage. You're still getting a lot out.
I know you're looking at the numbers right now. Suck over for you while you're looking that one up right now. Immortals roaming down to the bot lane, looking for a bit more to do. They've still got that Herald for only a little bit longer. I think this is going to be the summon. I'd expect it here from Xmithie. Look for bot lane too, see if they can get it. It's low enough that it pretty much dies to just the charge, so I really think it's a viable summon, but he's not going for it just yet. They're still pushing the wave in. Xmithie goes back up towards mid, and Immortals have yet to go for a Drake. Sad and alone, Cloudrick not going to find any attention yet, but look at that one. LirA's going to find Flame. It's going to be the engage from Pobelter, making a 2v2. Let's bounce, brings him back over the wall, though, but Seraph running out of health. The flag and track takes him down anyway. The damage simply too high. Pobelter made it happen. Nicely played there by Immortals, getting the kill for themselves.
Very smooth, and they are pushing very heavily on the bot side, looking for that tier 2 also. Immortals is really just taking everything, and Envy does not seem to really be able to combat this whatsoever. The Rift Herald now going to go down, and LirA in some trouble, but Nisqy is coming up to wave clear.
Yeah, it's enough for this one. This turret's going to get dropped a bit low. Smite actually, unfortunately, a bit late. I think if you smite earlier, it does less damage to the turret when it charges. Either way, though, it goes down. Turret is injured, and that's what Herald did. About 2/3 of top lane tier 2.
And drawing that pressure over, so now they have the wave in, and they've cut off Nisqy.
Knocks on a Nisqy. Do they have the seismic shove afterwards? He's not quite in range, and the Ghost can make sure he doesn't remain that way. And now he goes back over the wall as Xmithie has that low tunnel cooldown. But Immortal's going to make sure that, top lane 2-2 finally falls to the end. His Flame just sticks up there and makes it go down.
And it's a very intelligent play from Xmithie because they're getting more chip damage down on the turret, and they're also getting the fact that they're zoning Nisqy off an entire wave. So he's losing that experience, losing that gold. These little plays have been very, very nice from Immortals. It feels like they're doing pretty much everything right.
Absolutely agree. And now, speaking of everything right, they're getting a Cloud Trick. Oh, you can't make a better play in League of Legends. Slightly exaggerated here, but Cody Sun going to knock them down. It's not the easiest. Cloud Trick has very high single target damage, but his team is zoning out for him. And yeah, he'll be fine by the end of the day. Not a problem here in this one, and Immortal's going to grab even more. Put another feather in their cap, as is fitting for an airborne Drake, as they set up about 8,000 gold.
And for context, as we were talking about earlier, the Alistar combo with Ignite, and if you actually get your stun proc off, is doing around 700 to 800 damage before mitigation, which is quite a bit at these earlier levels when you are looking at an Orianna who has, say, 1,400 health.
Yep. Almost half her health bar down before the shield and everything else. Certainly meaningful here in this one. Pobelter now has Banshee's Veil done, which makes him even safer in the matchup. He's going towards that Royal Omicron next. Apollo just trying to scale up and farm. He had a dip down for Ninja Tabbies earlier on in this game, and Essence Reaver done, building towards the next few items, but honestly, it's a very long road ahead if Envy want to make themselves mount a comeback. The comp's going to scale pretty similarly, and Immortals sitting on this, as we mentioned, 8,000 to 9,000 gold lead. It's going to be hard to give that one away with the team playing this well.
The fact that Cody Sun is a full item ahead with a very powerful front line who can keep him safe and enable him in these team fights makes it so tough for Apollo to really get through that. By the time Olleh has his ultimate expiring, the fight's going to be over.
Well, they're going to find Cody Sun, though. Pretty nice damage on this one, but Let's Bounce only going to find the Alistar, so Olleh safe a bit longer. Cody, not sure if he wants to fight this one or not. He's cutting back and forth, but has to respect everything else. Olleh buys that 6 seconds of duration. Now here comes the engagement. The flank and Flame also finds Nisqy for himself. Xmithie not joining that fight just yet. LirA forced to flash away. Apollo getting damage on Olleh. The flash pulverize though brings him in. Ignite to buy a few more seconds. And the Blade Caller turns it into trade kill. 2 for 1 though so far in favor of Immortals. The rocket jump chase for Cody Sun. He's found Hakuho crits in the first shot with the lightning as well. A few more shots will do him in. 1 more will get the kill. And he knocks him down with 2 assists on the mark as well. 4 kills actually picked up as Nisqy was dropped in the side of it. So Immortals getting a 4-for-1 team fight in complete control of the map.
And you can see the total lack of damage that Envy actually have to take down the support. Alistar able to survive for a ridiculously long amount of time there. They're going to knock down the last of the outer turrets here, and they are already on the inhibitor turret. 12,000 gold ahead before 20 minutes is one of the biggest leads I've seen this split.
Absolutely insane stuff right there. 20 minutes in, tick, there it goes, and it's insane. 12.2 thousand, and sadly for them, Baron wasn't spawned in time, so they had to reset before they took it. But yeah, they're crushing.
There's the play again. Seraph was kind of wandering through mid lane there, does get caught out and easily taken down while the fight is happening on the bot side, and this enables Pobelter to just ult down, to actually come in and support, and you can see Olleh, after fighting for that whole time, is still relatively high on health because of his ultimate, able to hit a nice Q flash there over onto Apollo and land the follow-up stun from his trample passive so that Apollo could not actually take the lantern out to safety.
And Immortals continue to do great things. Shout out spectators, by the way, zooming out to show both halves of the fight. That was pretty sweet. Thanks, guys. We'll see what comes in next as Immortals sitting on this Cloud Drake, and with Baron available, it's an easy setup. Pretty much Envy can't face check anything, and it's honestly so far out of their hands. All they can hope for is a major mistake out of Immortals, and they don't seem keen to do so as they look for the next play. Hakuho in a pretty bad spot. There's the duck. He's got no flash, no pathway out for the Thresh, and the kill comes through for Flame. Seraph next up, 2 for 0, no problem.
What a good collapse there from Immortals. I mean, Pobelter coming in, cutting them completely off with the Taliyah ultimate. They're going to go right back to Baron. Very, very well done. We'll see if they just straight up start it up, and I think they will, as all 3 members remaining from Envy are still mid lane. They're not even going to try.
I mean, this one is so far out of reach continually here, as Baron almost doing more damage to Immortals than Envy has over the last 20 minutes here in this one. As Xmithie at half HP, who's gonna last hit it? Is it Xmithie? It is. He lands the smite. Beautiful play out of the Immortals jungler. Outsmites Cody Sun. Stone plate done. 5-0-6. He's huge.
Yeah, he's almost going to be unkillable in the fight, but here is the collapse. You can see Pobelter cutting off any possible retreat path. Very nice ultimate locking into there from Flame, and they can just fully commit to the fight, knowing they have segregated the last 3 members out. So there's no real way for Envy to even find a counter engage.
That's just the case here. So we'll see what comes next for this one. At this point, I feel like if you're Envy, you start thinking about what's happening in the next game. Yeah. You know that it's almost possible to win this one out. And of course, you're playing a full best of 3, and we have seen teams take a very convincing game 1 and then look not the same in the rest of the series here. Xmithie and LirA doing battle for a little bit longer, but LirA's going to run away on this. 0, 1, and 4 hasn't quite been able to find enough kills to get the team back in the front here.
I think one of the tough things about a game like this is it can sometimes make you doubt your preparation.
Yeah.
Even if it's not necessarily at fault, even if the draft was fine and it was play or poor circumstances, as you see in this game. I mean, there was a 4-for-1 extremely early in the game at 4 minutes, right? Most of the game is going to be based off that, so you can't let it affect you mentally. You need to be able to stay strong and stay positive and trust the preparation that you put in.
Here comes the 2-man engage. The knockup is there. Hakuho is gone at the very start. Let's bounce buys a bit more time as LirA kites away, but the turret's still going to fall pretty shortly. Seraph in the mix, going to look for Xmithie. He's very durable, but does stay alive a little bit longer. Nice flag and drag finds Nisqy. Shotgun buys some time, but it's not enough. And then it goes down. LirA next up to go away, and the blobs are gone. Apollo forced to cut away. Only 2 members left now alive for Team Envy as LirA's bloblets are gone. And they're going to go for the chase. The quadra kill for Pobelter. Sadly, scumbag Cody Sun killed a bloblet to deny the penta. That is something you could have given away. Cody Sun does not deserve any MVP points. F-tier bot laner, 100% of the way. Pobelter to deserve the penta, and Immortals gonna take game 1 home. 23.5 minutes. The cowbell there to make sure the crowd is hyped. and Immortals are one game away from securing a playoff bye in the summer split.
And they look so good doing it. And making the last game look so easy against a playoff team.
Yeah.
Envy is already locked in for playoffs. They could be playing Immortals, and Immortals just slammed them.
This is great stuff. Immortals, I don't think the destiny is quite in their hands. I believe the game score is better for TSM. But if they do get that first place seed, they get the bye in the quarterfinals, then who do they face in the semis but Envy, who I'm pretty sure if they lose this match are now guaranteed because they would be 2 matches behind the Cloud9 dig tie. So a loss here, I think, guarantees 6 for Envy. You can check me on that online, but I'm pretty sure it's true. And that means, yes, if Immortals somehow manages to hold on to first, you just 2-0'd potentially the team that you're going to play, so now you're in the finals. Like, the road is so clear almost.
Assuming Envy beats the 3rd seed,
if
and then they move forward.
Oh, you're right, I'm super silly, and I forgot how quarterfinals work. My brain is terrible.
Envy's in the quarterfinals, so then they go to the semifinals.
Forget
then they
everything
lose.
I just said. I'm
Immortals
an
are the
idiot.
champions.
For more on that game, let's send it to Dash and Chat, who are less dumb than me.
I mean, I don't even know what to say. Freak just said everything I needed to say for me, but that's right. Don't listen
See
to
you for
Freak.
game 2.
Listen to us. We've got everything you need to hear right here in the analyst room. I mean, here's the thing. That was next to the fastest game we've had so far this split, next to the most dominant in terms of gold leads, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Before Immortals, man, they are going to feel good coming out of the gates here in week 9 and putting up a performance like that over a playoff team.
Exactly. And Envy put up a pretty good fight last week, and people were wondering how scary they were going to be. So one interesting thing about the draft here is this is the heavily nerfed Zac.
Yes.
And it's something Envy still thought had a lot of competitive viability, and Immortals shut that down in a big way early game. So that's the last time the game was close. Right. Champion select.
All right, so let's get into this. What we're going to do is we're going to pull up basically an early game replay, but this is 2 very intelligent jungle minds meeting at a high level in the game. Walk me through this one, Jad.
So LirA got a super leash. Therefore, Xmithie is trying to scout him at the blue buff. He wards the blue and sees it's still there. So now it's all about a mind game. Is he trying to invade my jungle, or is he done this side of the jungle? And here's where LirA does something smart. He cleared his wolves, and he doesn't expect Xmithie to check, but Xmithie does check. And now Xmithie says, okay, his wolves are gone, and his blue is up. Where could he possibly be? Because I know the bot lane was late due to the super leash. He figures it out. This is actually a really complex problem to solve on the fly. He says, guys, he's a blue. Check. So the team then goes and chases after LirA. Olleh roams in, and chaos erupts, right? Because LirA says, hey, they might know. They know the roam is on. He thinks he can get it, and he does. But because Immortals is all on the same page, Pobelter also roamed first. This is a whole team play, and the mind game here is insane. A little bit of missed execution on the bottom of the screen there where Xmithie missed his knockup, but they are still a little bit faster on the play, so to speak, because their team arrives. So while First Blood does go over to the other side, the cleanup comes in.
Immortals has lost their support, but for Envy, their mid laner is out of the fight, right? So even though the kill hadn't come through just yet, they were lacking damage, which is why when the rest of Immortals collapse and the rest of the fight plays out the way it does here, you see them come away with more kills than Envy and ultimately take the advantage.
Yeah, and this is the type of stuff that Immortals wasn't able to do before Xmithie.
Right.
I feel like so many junglers would have just taken blue, because you're always worried if you're going to try and 3-buff someone, so to speak, to just get it. Or you accept the fact that the jungle has been split. So I don't discredit LirA for getting caught and getting his team in a bad situation. I credit Xmithie and Immortals for recognizing that play so quickly.
I mean, that's the thing, right? We said LirA made an intelligent move away from his wolves, knowing that he wasn't going to be able to contest his own blue. It's just that Xmithie perfectly calls it. And don't take our word for it. This is the point. We're going to play it one more time for you, this time from Xmithie's perspective. Take a look.
Cody, can we kill Thresh, you think?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Alright,
he's not showing us. He might be out of blue. He might be out of blue. Okay. I'm gonna ward.
Yeah, he's out of blue. I think he's out of blue.
Should I go? Should I go?
No, he did wolves. He did wolves.
Oh, okay. Zac is top then.
Yeah, he's top. He can be bottom now, though. He can be bottom, going straight to our blue.
Okay.
Eugene, do you have wards?
Yeah, I have one.
Can you guys check our blue?
Okay.
Anyone? Can anyone?
I can go. Yeah. Olleh can check.
Yeah, they look like they're going for there.
Yeah, they're going. They are. Yeah, they are.
I can go.
Crazy, right? Because that's my first time hearing this, and that's kind of what I thought was going to happen. When I saw LirA take off his wolves and Xmithie moves down to wolves, he's probably really confused right now. So it was so cool to see him say he's probably out of blue. Wait, no, he took wolves.
So
wait, he still hasn't shown. He must be doing it anyway.
Right, and you hear him call out multiple options. You say he could be bot side. You also have to watch for the gank, right? He could be choosing to gank instead of go for my blue. No, he's not doing that. Do you have wards? Let's collapse. And the play unfolds. Essentially, that's the most important couple minutes of the game because the gold lead that is built off of that from Immortals, just purely from that play, is massive. And they run a perfect snowball. 15-minute gold differential of 6.6K. That's the second highest of any game this split.
It was insane watching that stack up because every player was impacted by that play. So by the end of it, they could get CS advantages in all 3 lanes, kill advantage on Xmithie, and then credit to them as well. It's no easy task to take that small advantage and turn it into a giant one, but that's why they are the first place team, because they're showing they can do that.
I mean, they also hold the highest gold advantage at 15 from a previous game against Dignitas at 6.9K. So again, if you're looking at Immortals heading into playoffs and this idea of returning to form, being the #1 most dominant team in the North American LCS, this is the way they're going to do it. And it's all off the back of Xmithie. He's picking up player of the game this time around for exactly that 30 seconds of audio that you heard right there. It was very clear that he dictated how the team was going to play the game in the early game reactively to what LirA was doing.
Yeah, everyone's talking about the MVP race because we're in the final week of the regular season. That's all that matters for MVP. LirA's a candidate. Xmithie's a candidate as well. So all these guys are trying to make that final push for it. This was a pretty good showing along with the rest of the things he's done this year because it's a total regular season award, but this helps.
All right, we just were really Immortals heavy there. So let's jump over to Envy for just a quick moment because as you mentioned, you don't want to discredit LirA for the work that he did or for the fact that he got caught. I'll put that in air quotes there. But you know, there's only so much you can do when you go down 3, 4, 5K so early on in the game. And now it's about resetting for that game 2 and saying, no, we're still a playoff team and we can still take these guys down. Now it's about proving it.
Yeah, and you can see these series go back and forth even after it looks like the series should be over after one game. One guy that I want to see step up in the next game is Nisqy. He's a rookie who I think actually is in contention for Rookie of the Split because he's been playing so well, but he didn't have a good game. The one thing that did tilt that play aside from Xmithie was just him getting chunked out by Pobelter, not respecting the Taliyah Roman and hugging the wall. So I want to see Nisqy perform better in the next game and try and help Envy out a little bit more.
All right, well, Immortals came out swinging in game 1. We'll see if they can claim a playoff bye with a win in game 2 or whether or not Envy can strike back when we come back.
You guys can go on
Slowly.
Yep.
I'm on Ori. Afio. Just run.
I'm gonna go in.
Yeah.
You got him? Oh shit.
Can you reach him? Hey, they flashed in for us.
Yeah.
For us. Okay.
Jungle AD don't play.
No flash.
Can we collapse?
I get TP.
TP.
What do they have?
Jungle AD don't flash. Jack don't flash. Yes, flash flame. Yes,
we
flash.
have to finish Jack. Kill him.
Yes, no flip on them. No flash flame. Okay, we got him. We got all of them.
Hey, no.
Go down.
Hiding.
Hey, I flash it.
I gotta go back.
Good job, BJ. I got him.
Let's go, guys. Yeah, let's go. Nice.
Nice job. Nice.